All right, so Canelo Alvarez made an announcement today that he has re-signed a deal, or renewed a TV deal with TV Azteca in Mexico for another year. Basically means that they'll broadcast his pay-per-view fights completely free for the fans to watch in Mexico. So they get Alvarez's fights, his pay-per-view fights, for free. Fair play. That was the kind of announcement that they were teasing. Now, some were speculating because they were saying there was a big announcement coming today. Some were speculating, and I heard several different rumors. One, it was going to be Munguia, it was going to be Charlo, or that it was going to be Alvarez retiring. Now, the retirement one, I was kind of like, Nah, I don't believe it. Well, he said that he plans on fighting for another 5 years. How old's Alvarez now? He is, it's quite crazy. 34 years old come July, I think he was born. Sometime in July, thereabouts. So he's 33 years old now. He has been around forever. I remember Alvarez when he was about 21 years old. So, time's flying. Time is really flying. But he says he'll be around for another 5 years. Okay, let's see. Because some would argue that they're maybe starting to see him slide a little bit. And, you could definitely make that argument. But with regards to the opponent, I'm going to read this here, right? So it says Alvarez has declared that his next opponent for May the 4th will be American, not Mexican, appearing to support reports that he will defend his undisputed super middleweight world titles against Jermall Charlo, not Jaime Munguia. Now, my only hope is that I know Dave Benavidez is Mexican-American. He was born in Arizona, so there is still I'm clutching at straws, I know. Obviously, he said, Canelo, that he wouldn't fight other Mexican fighters, which I don't understand why. He's done it in the past, but, Benavidez is mandatory. I want to see him fight Benavidez. To be honest with you, I'm getting peeved off that he's not mentioning Benavidez, that he's not talking about fighting him, that we're hearing all these names, Munguia's of the world. And no disrespect to Munguia, it'd be a good fight, but I want to see Alvarez versus Benavidez. But Charlo, we've already seen Canelo fight one Charlo. It wasn't a particularly compelling fight. Canelo won it pretty damn easy. And that was Jermall Charlo, who moved up 2 weight divisions. And to his credit, he'd been active, reasonably active anyway. Yeah, Jermall had his first fight, I think it was on the Benavidez-Andrade undercard back in November. Didn't set the world alight in that fight. I think that was at 163, thereabouts. Prior to that, he hadn't fought in, I think, was it Selecki he fought last? Prior to that, I think it was Selecki or someone like that he fought in 2021. He was out of the ring for 2 years. WBC don't care. They're just like, oh no, he can do what he likes. But of course, Savannah Marshall wins the title. Mandatory. There you go. Look, Charlo against Canelo. I don't want to see it. I really don't. And I think that fight will probably go similar to how his twin brother went. I don't think it will be very compelling. Look, at the end of the day, right, at 168, of which Charlo was never fought, by the way. Just chucking that out there. He's never fought at 168. I know you could technically say his last fight because it was over the middleweight limit technically, but at a full 168 in a title situation, no. I want to see Canelo fight Benavidez. It's as simple as that. That's what I want to see. The Charlos, do you know what is so frustrating about Jermall Charlo? Is that he had a really good performance a long time ago, 4 years nearly, but he had a really good performance against Derevchenko, really good performance in that fight, and he never built on it. That was, you could argue that was one of his best performances of his career against Derevchenko. And I think it was October, September 2020, thereabouts. And again, just never built off it. And now he's in a situation where he's going to more than likely fight Canelo. The fans don't seem to care. From what I've seen online, most fans are just like, don't want to see it. Do not want to see it. And people want to see Alvarez fight Dave Benavidez. I want to see him fight Benavidez. At the end of the day, he's his mandatory. Should the WBC not enforce it? And I remember against Triple G, going back years ago now, 2016, 2015, when they tried to enforce it, they tried to make Canelo fight Triple G, who was his mandatory, because the WBC at the time made an unprecedented decision to rank Triple G as mandatory challenger, even though we had the WBA and the IBF title at 160. They tried to force that fight. Canelo vacated. He went down, fought Liam Smith, and then fought Chavez Jr. And the WBC are pretty quick to say, we won't do that again after that. So I can't see them enforcing the mandatory, unfortunately, which is they should, because, Benavidez is his mandatory. So, that's what I want to see for Canelo. It's frustrating. I've watched Canelo for many years. I've always enjoyed watching him, but I want to see him against Benavidez. I'd still pick Alvarez over Benavidez. I wouldn't be, I wouldn't put my life on it, wouldn't my life savings on it, but I would still edge with Alvarez against Benavidez. And I just don't want to see him fight Charlo. Jermall going into their fight was the better of the two because he'd been more active, and quite frankly, he'd done a little bit more, certainly at 154. And, a big guy is, both Charlos are very big men. But Jermall, And he did not look himself last time out, and I just don't want to see that fight. I really don't. I think there's loads of better fights out there, and it's interesting because I don't really know what's going on with PBC, because yes, they have this Amazon deal, but we're hearing talks that there are certain fighters not happy, and I'll do a separate video later on this evening about Subriel Mateus, which I think PBC letting him go it's good for Eddie Hearn, but that's criminal letting a fighter like that go. He has serious star power. I'll talk about that in a separate video, but that is my thoughts on this situation. Likelihood is on May 4th, and I know he's going to be fighting in September as well, so we'll cross our fingers for that one. But yeah, likelihood is Charlo, an American, so, Charlo, hardly going to be a plant rematch. That's really all I can think of. That's really all I can think of. I will hope it's Benavidez. I'm clutching at straws because he's born in Arizona, so I'm hoping maybe he'll class that. I'm clutching at straws with that one. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. If Canelo does fight Charlo, Jermall Charlo, you interested? Let me know in the comments. Hope you enjoy the people. Smash the like button if you could, and subscribe. Of course, as always, if you haven't already. And for now, I will leave it there. Peace. Boxing today, it seems like there's news breaking every single day. There's fights being announced almost every day. Big fights at that. Boxing's in a good place. And sometimes, I don't know about you guys, but I find it a little bit difficult at times just to stay on top of everything, between checking Twitter, checking boxing scene, going on BoxRec to see if there's anything announced. There's a lot to look for. There's a lot of platforms you need to go on. And if you look there on screen, you'll see today's sponsors, Boxing Showtimes. They've made an app that does it all for you. Look at that on screen. It shows you where you can get tickets. It gives you all the latest news. It gives you the tail of the tape. It gives you all the card details. It's going to give you details about Fury Usyk. It's going to give you details about Joshua Ngannou. It's also going to have a lot more little things thrown in there as well. The link is in the comment section. It's going to be pinned on this video and more besides soon enough. And not only that, in the comment section, there's also going to be a link, a G-Man promo, which means you can access a little bit more without ads. Now that, to quote Eddie Hearn, is a game changer. Now let's crack on with the video.